Hi, welcome and thank you for listening to the Fearless Adventure podcast. My name is Veerle and I'm taking you with me on a journey. In this podcast, I will give you a glimpse into my location-independent free life. I will tell you about the challenges of online entrepreneurship as a nomad, about finding the right mindset to grow, and how you can experience real freedom in your own non-nomadic life. My name is Veerle and welcome to Fearless Adventure.
Hey, hello. I am so happy that you're listening to another episode of the Fearless Adventure podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about the art of receiving. And this has been a topic that has been on my mind for weeks now. I have been thinking about it a lot. It came up in all the work that I was doing, in the courses that I took, in the meditations that I did. And I knew, all right, this is a new episode for the podcast. So here I am sitting on a staircase in the hostel that I'm staying at in the sun next to the road, so there might be some cars passing, but I felt like I needed to record this episode right now, and I don't want to wait until next week when I'm back in an apartment where I can record a silent episode with my good microphones. I'm just sitting here recording on my phone, and that's good as well. So we're just gonna deep dive into the art of receiving. And to start, I wanted to tell you that there are different ways of receiving. Because of course, when we think about receiving, we usually think about receiving compliments. And some people are really good at receiving compliments, but a couple of people, most of the people, they aren't. I really see it in the Dutch culture that people, when they get a compliment, they just respond with, this old thing? No, it's only €5. I bought it there and there, or I got it for free. So they just wave away the whole compliment about the nice dress or whatever, and they don't really accept it. But it's the same with food. Well, maybe it's not the same, but people struggle to accept food. Today here in the hostel, yesterday, someone was offering me something. And I was like, are you sure? But if someone wasn't sure about offering me food, they wouldn't have done it. So it is my thing to accept it and not to make someone think about if they actually want to give something. And, well, the different ways of receiving, the different areas that I want to point out is compliments, food, housing, love, money. And I want to specify love as really love between people. And I want to have sex as a different type of receiving, because a lot of people have problems with that. So I wanted to talk about that as well. It is a big topic where people can maybe not receive or not give. And it is an important one. So compliments, food, housing, love, money, and sex. Those are the topics that I want to talk about today. Well, the different areas in which you can receive. And of course, there's many more topics, but these are the ones that I see people struggle with a lot. But the thing is, we're talking about receiving, but there's two sides of receiving, because you have giving and you have receiving. And a lot of people who struggle with receiving are maybe struggling with giving as well. So I want you to think, are you open to give and receive? Or are you open to give and not receive? Are you open to not give but only receive? You can be, there are a lot of options in this topic. So think about it for yourself. What is your area where you're struggling? Where do you feel resistance? Are you feeling... There's a cat sitting on my nose. Where do you feel resistance? Do you feel resistance to give or to receive? And it can be that you're really good in receiving compliments or giving compliments, but you are really bad at receiving money or giving money. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're bad in... Oh, the cat is now cuddling with my nose and my water bottle. This is not going well. But I'm gonna keep this in the episode because it's part of life. Alright, I'm gonna scare the cat away so I can see my nose again. So yeah, you can be really good in receiving something, food or housing, but really bad in receiving love or sex or whatever. So really dig deep and think about that for a second. And I want to think about what we need in order to receive. Because I think we need to feel safe in order to receive. So what are you afraid of? What is stopping you to receive? And I got a couple of examples here. I know a lot of people are afraid of receiving and blocking it a little bit because they want to hold on to the old narrative. Yeah, but what if I receive this, am I still that person? Am I still me? So people can be afraid to let go of their identity just because they are receiving something. But it can also be letting go of control. We always want to be in control. And in order to receive, you have to let go of the control. And that can be a scary thing. So a way that you can block yourself is to cling on to the control. And I think a lot of people are struggling with feeling worthy in order to receive. So if you're getting a compliment, who am I to get this compliment? If someone wants to give you a house to stay in for free, who am I to accept this? Love, why would someone love me? So you can struggle in all these areas because you're not feeling worthy. And I notice that a lot of people are also hesitant to receive because they're afraid of what others might think. But what would someone think of me if I take this money or if I take this food? And something that comes up for a lot of people is that they feel that they have to give back when they receive. Because giving and receiving is so connected to each other. And I think a lot of people tend to give or receive. But that's for you to decide what's it for you. I feel like we need to surrender in order to receive. And you need to let go of the control, of the narrative, of the feeling unworthy, the expectations you might feel from others, the pressure, or the pressure that you feel to give back. And take a look within, with every field, if you are a giver or receiver. And I think within sex, that might be an easy one to spot if you're a giver or receiver, but it might also be that you're giving because you feel that you are expected to give. So also take a look within that if you are doing it because it feels good to you, or is it an attitude that you learned because it was expected of you. And I want to give a small example about money, because for a lot of people it might be difficult to accept money. So what amount of money do you feel comfortable if someone would hand it to you? So let's say you meet a stranger on the street and that person is just handing you randomly $25. How would you feel? Would you accept that? Alright, maybe you accepted this. So how would you feel if that person would give you $100? Are you still open to receive that? Or do you think that's already a little bit too much? So really take a look within and see where your point is. What is too much to receive? I know that for a complete stranger, I think €50 is kind of okayish to receive. But I think I will feel guilty to take $100 from someone that I don't know. So it's nice to think about that a little bit and to see where the line is for you. And another topic that I struggled a little bit with in the beginning was housing. I used to... Yeah, no, that's maybe a story for a different time. No, housing, as many of you might know, I talked about this in one of the previous episodes. I have been struggling with finding a place to live here in Gran Canaria. And one of my friends opened up her house to me, and I had such a hard time to just receive it. For a long time, I felt like I needed to give back in order to receive that. I felt a little bit guilty. I thought I really needed to buy her lots of stuff in order to be worthy of receiving that bed in her place. So it might be difficult for you to accept something like that. And I think we all have that. And we are all blocking something sometimes. And I want to really make you aware of that. And I think usually in the bottom line we are giving or we are receiving. But like I said, it can differ in the different areas. And if you are a giver, I want you to check in with yourself. Are you over giving because you want to get something back? Because a lot of people are giving stuff just because they want to feel accepted, or they want to feel loved, or they want to get something in return. I know this guy that I met in a hostel. He was always feeding everybody, baking pancakes and giving drinks and food and everything. And of course it's really nice, but he did it because he wants to be seen, he wants to be loved. And we talked a lot about this together, so I know he wouldn't mind me sharing this here. And of course it's still anonymous, so it's fine. But he really is struggling with receiving, and he's over giving because that's the way he's been taught to feel love. So for him it might be nice to stop over giving and start to be able to receive as well. So yeah, that's just something that I wanted to point out, because I know a lot of people are over giving, and I know I have done that for a long time as well. I think everyone has done it at some point in their life, but it might be because you wanted to gain something, you wanted to gain love, or you wanted to gain more drinks. I think with giving around when you're in a bar, it might be hard if you're always buying rounds for people and you don't receive anything back. Then you might end up not feeling that good about yourself. So that is because you are giving because you expect something in return. So check in with yourself if you're doing that for that reasons. So I think you need to surrender in order to receive, but surrendering can be so scary. And you might be holding yourself back because you are afraid, you fear something. And also you might be, this is a brainwave that I have still about the giving, because I think a lot of people use giving as an excuse to not give something of themselves. So some people might be buying a lot of stuff for someone just so they don't have to give something of themselves. So that can be that a guy is constantly buying his girlfriend gifts, but doesn't really want to be in her life that committed. I know I used to date someone who was always buying me stuff and always was treating me like a queen when we were together, but that was because we weren't really together. So I know people might do that because they're afraid of what might happen if they totally have to give themselves. But yeah, I was talking about surrendering, that surrendering can be easy and you might be holding yourself back out of fear. And I have recorded another episode already about surrendering and about letting go, and I will link to those episodes in the show notes because I don't know the exact number right now. I know the Art of Letting Go is episode 50, so you can go to fearlessbusiness.nl/50. You'll get the episode, and I have to double check what the surrender episode is. But I will put that in the show notes, and you can find the show notes at fearlessbusiness.nl/61, because I think this is episode 61. Alright, but what can we do to start to be open to receive? So let's take compliments as an example. If someone is going to give you a compliment, just start by accepting it, by saying thank you, instead of responding automatically about that you don't like your new hair, or you don't like the color of your hair when someone is complimenting that, or that you when it's a compliment about a dress that you bought it for €5, whatever. Stop doing that and just say thank you. It doesn't have to be that hard. And maybe you don't feel the thank you yet when you're starting out with that, but it is the step to get there. So try that. And I think someone else that we can do to start being open to receive is analyze in which field you are giving and receiving, and experiment with that. If you feel like you're always giving out money or buying stuff for people, stop with that and try to be open when people are buying something for you. So try to be open to receive. And yeah, it is such a difficult topic, but I love it. It's such a nice topic to think about. And that was what I wanted to do with this episode. I wanted to make you aware of the patterns that you have with giving and receiving, and just think about it a little bit so you can change those patterns. And I don't hold the solution, and there might nothing be wrong with what you're doing right now, but the world might open up for you if you start to be able to receive. So that's why I wanted to share this episode, and that's why I just needed to talk about this a little bit. Alright, so this was it for now, and I hope I will see you soon at a different episode.
Thank you for getting along on my journey and listening to another episode of Fearless Adventure. Would you like more information on the topic of this episode? Then take a look at the show notes on fearlessbusiness.nl. Give your opinion or want to screenshot this episode on Instagram, you can find me and tag me on Instagram at Fearless. That is Veerlez. Fearless. Can't wait to hear from you, and see you next time.